So Leslie, it's been a number of months since we cleared your home,
Yes.
and it was so much fun to do.
So
We had
much.
so much information coming in and some different things happening. How's life?
It's night and day, which is a good thing. So
What we
very
like to
happy.
hear.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So our house is just it's full of our own activity now. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Versus
Yeah.
heady stress activity. Now we are doing the things instead of thinking about the things that need to be done and avoiding it or trying to manage that chaos. Now the chaos feels like our chaos, but it just feels like it's our stuff. And it's
your
amazing
own
to
chaos.
feel like, yeah.
I
how to
gotta
explain
say,
that.
having your own chaos is so much better than having chaos
Yes.
you do not understand.
Yeah.
For sure. I know that sounded funny at first, but it's enjoyable chaos.
Yeah, no, it makes sense because it's your own.
Yeah.
It's your own. You're not battling someone else's or this others that is at a completely different vibration. That's wonderful. Oh
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear
like
this
I
whole
can
thing.
navigate.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I get excited too. I am always excitable and talkative. But I feel like I can that chaos instead of it happening to me.
So for all of you out there that maybe this is your first time joining us, I'm Mari-Lyn.
And I'm Pam. Yes.
This is Leslie.
Yes.
And as you heard at the beginning, we cleared her family's home a while back. And this is the update. Yes. And we are so excited for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do
you want me to tell you what we noticed?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So as I've said, I was a teacher and I am just a big fan of free information for all, right? So I tried really hard to hone in on what it felt like for anybody that might be scared of it, or nervous to do it, or thinks they should. I don't know. So the very first thing.
Hold on for just a second. Hold on, Leslie. Mm-hmm. You broke up a little bit in there, or you froze. So I'm going to assume that you said about contacting us.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I make sure. That's what it said. But in case anyone is watching going, I got lost there somewhere.
I'm dropping today. You're dropping. I'm dropping. I apologize.
Yes. Yeah, that's
what it was.
It happens sometimes. It happens. Okay, go ahead.
It's regular for my Wi-Fi, so this is normal. We at the time when we contacted you, I had mentioned our electricity would do weird things. Like we had I have these two lights in the living room that are on my piano that are just incessantly flickering, and they dial up, dial down the brightness. It's wild. We have not had it did that for years since I bought the lights. And we have had none of that. It's right after the clearing. It happened, I think, twice, where we were like, oh, that's weird. But it was very sporadic. And since then, none of it. I'm shocked. And we tried everything to make those lights stop. We changed all the cords.
That's awesome.
It was wild, but none of it anymore. That was the thing that happened the most frequently. And it was also the thing that died down. It took the longest for that to go away. But now it's...
Yep. Which really is a sort of I don't know if you say barometer.
It's helpful to others that. No, go ahead.
Sorry, this keeps going in and out. The light that feels like such a barometer. So we come in and we clear, and it takes a few days, a week, whatever, for everything to sort of settle. So that's really awesome. Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew that, okay, there's still some things that are shifting and moving because the lights are still doing, and then it just stopped and you were done. It was like Spirit was saying, okay, everything's cleared. You're done. It's all shifted.
Yeah. It just kind of like a day crescendo. I don't know, a dwindling of activity. That that was the thing we noticed the most, was right there.
Nice.
But so after you cleared it, my friend took our children out during the clearing, and she came back, and she's very sensitive, and she said that she could tell there was just a different feel from immediately after it was cleared. And right prior to that, like a couple before she came over, we painted the living room together, and she said, I've been to your house before and I know how tall your ceilings are, like I know this, but she said everything feels taller. And I thought that was really interesting, and I wrote it down. I thought it was a cool thing. Yeah, I don't yeah, she
Love
said
that.
my house felt taller, which is what you said, like this oil slick feeling, and it felt pressing. And so all of a sudden she said the outside and the inside felt taller.
Love
Yeah.
that.
Yes, I have chills. This is why we do this, right?
And my husband and I went out that night. Yeah, it was amazing. And my husband and I went out that night and came back. He'd gone to a friend's and came back, and we noticed that the sounds in the house were brighter. I don't know, other than you mentioned that energetic dust, all I could think of is that was maybe clouding up what we were hearing. So we have pets, and all of a sudden I heard the pets in the living room, and I heard them just, across the floor. And I felt like my back was to them, and I thought, I know exactly where they are by like echolocation. I could tell you right where they were, and that never happens. I used to think, I teach music, so I thought like, oh my gosh, my ears are so clogged all the time. No, like we could tell exactly what was happening. It sounded brighter. We noticed that like as we went around the house, things felt, what was I going to say? It felt like, and this was really weird, and I feel weird saying it, but our furniture, our lines in the house felt crisp. I don't like the furniture, the counter spaces, versus me feeling like everything was just I don't know how to describe that, like a blob of stuff was everywhere. You know how like you get blind to your mess or something?
Yes,
it kind of felt like we were
blind
of things. I don't know, like blind to how we were blind to our own structure, like of the house. And all of a sudden we were like, oh, wow. Like,
yes.
I don't know how to describe that other than we could see things clearly and hear things clearly, which was very abruptly different from before.
We often,
yeah.
Oh, hold on just a second.
One other thing.
Oh, before you go, sorry, we're sort of, there's a lag here. We often describe when someone has a lot, especially like with your home, it's really like walking in energetically. It's like walking into a hoarder's home. It's just like you're bumping into stuff, but of course you can't see it, when you live, it's like a hoarder's home. So, so it's like we went in there and just cleared away all the junk that was everywhere, all the boxes, all the, everything. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, for sure. And my husband and I are crazy organized. We want everything out of the house. Like we are not hoarders.
No,
and so
not at all.
Like it. For sure, it felt like it. You would just bump into things or whatever. One of the things we noticed over the longer period of time was that, and this was weird too, but units of time felt more congealed, like into a unit of time. I don't know, versus us feeling like, oh, today we have so much to, I don't know. It was like, we have so much to do. I homeschool, I am always teaching. We are always teaching. So the days are so very long when you're doing that, trying to set things up. All of a sudden I had blocks of time that made sense in my mind. That
oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that before just felt like a never ending to-do list. Suddenly,
wow. So you were really
chunks where I could actually move pieces and
because it wasn't all cluttered up with just
right.
Yeah, that energetic dust, the oil,
really being able to be present in your space and time. That's wonderful.
Versus feeling like everything was just, we were underwater is what it felt like.
Yes.
Very different feeling. I noticed right after it happened also that all of us were sleeping a lot more than normal. The pets were sleeping longer. The kids, everybody was sleeping a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. And now we're okay. It feels a little, time felt very structured. Things started to feel structured without us having to really work at it.
Yes. So one of the things with sleep is you had been just sort of that energy was sort of ingrained in you, in all, your entire body. And so all that sleep was really releasing all of that old heavy stuff. So it doesn't surprise me. It's like when you're
Okay.
oftentimes when all the activity's going, you don't sleep as well. But then as soon as it's gone, you sleep really well because your body's like, okay, I can process all this energy now and let it go. So
Process.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what that felt like, was the process of it. For
Yeah.
sure. Let me think. I wrote a list down because I just wanted to make sure. One of the things that we noticed over the longer period of time, was that I felt significantly better, like immediately, whereas my husband felt a little bit worse. And the only thing that we could think of was that I'm the one with all the energy all of the time. And so whatever it was may have, but it felt like I was being stifled where
Sure.
he was lulled, if that makes sense. Like, almost like he was very lulled into, I don't know, like his job or things that he was complacent with that he didn't want to be complacent with, but he just was. And so once we had the clearing, I felt significantly better. And he started to take note of the things that he didn't agree with or didn't align with in workspaces or other spaces that were not matching him. And he started to be like, I got to deal with that. Like, and
Wow.
so it felt like very much
That's
that was a way for me to check that we were definitely being manipulated in different.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's
So like,
amazing.
yeah.
Amazing how the different members of the household can be affected so polar opposites, really.
Yeah.
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 And
Yes.
that's just beautiful
Yeah,
for
it was
him.
almost like he was, yeah, like lulled into complacency with things that he was not complacent with.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That is absolutely what activity will do. And sometimes that's not even, in his case, I don't think it was the entities in the home. It was just the energy of that, just that low vibration. The grids were messed up, all those different components. You just kind of get the, well, whatever's, like it just sort of, some people.
For sure.
There's a sense of, you're fighting that energy all the time. And so it's kind of like picking your battles. I have to battle to get through my day. I don't have the energy to battle this mess or this situation.
Yes.
Even.
Yeah.
That's how it felt
awesome.
for him.
Yeah.
Let me see if I had any. Then after it kind of panned out, well, before I say that, I should tell you that since it had happened, we met our neighbor that we didn't know before that had a child, and she came to our house, and I was so excited to tell you this because it was so validating for what happened. So she her it was really cool. Her mom is a practicing Buddhist, and so she had come to our house, and she had lived in her house on our block for, I think it was her parents' home, and then it was her home. So they'd lived there for a long time. The home was very energetically sound. And she came to our property and said, yeah, like when we met, we talked about this because we were already there. So I don't know. She was in the same place I was. And she said, yeah, your property had always felt like heavier than other properties. And as we were talking, I had told her how we had it cleared, since then. And we noticed she brought it to my attention that we have a cornerstone on the front of our property that sits like this. And the house behind us has a cornerstone as well. Oh. And her property had a cornerstone. So, but then the house is the one in front of us would have had one, but they took it down. So she said, my mom and I always wondered what this property was before they divided it out into 6 little blocks of, houses. But at one point she said it had to have all been one location because the cornerstones all matched to make a giant rectangle of property that would have been 6 properties long at that point. Okay. And so that was kind of cool because we were able to talk about what we thought it used to be and talk about the history of it. And as we were I was explaining to her some of the things that happened in my home. She said the same had happened in her home, which is what you said about seeing the dark figure. And you said, I have a feeling that it happens in my house in March, but other properties in my neighborhood would say that activity happens to them in February or September or whatever. And she said she also saw that dark figure that is probably, I don't know, the thing that was slinking through the tunnels.
Yes,
into the
yes,
neighborhood.
yes.
So that's now her house that saw it, confirmed our house, and the neighbor that is
Wow.
that it happened immediately after the first time I saged it. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was clearly doing exactly
Yes.
what you said. It was, yeah,
Yes.
that was interesting to us.
And that's so
for
validating for us because, I mean, we say what we get with the information, and oftentimes we'll get done with the clearing and we walk away and we'll start talking about it. And it's like, really? Like, is that, because you do, even we who completely trust, we get what we get, we say it, there's still afterwards, sometimes I'm not sure if it's, maybe part doubt and just part like, is that right?
Like,
really?
Like,
yeah, so that's so validating. Thank you.
Kind of like the bizarreness of it. Like,
yes,
we were so excited to hear that information. And we did not, like, she's lived here for a while. I've lived here maybe 12 years. We did not cross paths. I don't know if she just moved in and her mom doesn't live there now, but so she said she hadn't seen it since because her mom, was always chanting and things like that. So her home, they only saw it for a time. But it did not stay there because it wasn't a place that it wanted to be, I guess.
Yes, no, not with the Buddhist there doing her thing. No.
Right. So that was really.
That's also a testament to, there's a way of thinking out there. That's what I want to say, that you'll go into a home. This is not us, obviously, but we'll go into a home and they shoo everything out or they banish it out, whatever it is. Like, you can't be in this home. Well, that entity is going to go somewhere. So they're going to go to the neighbor's house, or they're going to go, they're going to go torture someone else. That's why our belief is so strong. No, we have to do something with this entity so it can't hurt anyone else. It can't do to someone else what they've done to you. So I think that's a beautiful testament to that, is that's why we don't just banish something from the house, because it just goes and tortures, and that's not what we want to do, right? And I'm sure you would hate, like, sure, it's nice that it's not in my house, but at some point when you start going, oh my gosh, it's torturing someone else, because
yeah, because that was immediate for us. When we first realized, and it was like the first month after I bought the house, it was like Amityville Horror. We love horror movies, so but Amityville Horror, it was every day for 30 days. We were having different things happen until I saged it. I know. And then that was when it left for the week. And immediately a week later, the neighbor was like contacting a different neighbor, telling them that, how did your neighbor get rid of that? Because my kids are seeing it in their house and they're scared.
So crazy.
So then I felt funny. I didn't know what to say. So I said, I am not an expert, but here's this. If you want to tell her this is what I did, coming from her, it probably would have felt better, So it's just an awkward conversation sometimes to have with your neighbors. But when you're finding out all this information,
yes,
I don't know.
Yeah. And it comes in. Saging is a beautiful thing to do when after the house is cleared, then all the saging, just that upkeep, then it's beautiful. But as you know, saging, they'll just leave for a week and then they'll come back often, so it doesn't get rid of them forever. But now you can, and hopefully you do, and you probably do, which is you do some sort of practice in the home, which you should now that it's all cleared away. So that's exciting. It took me a while
to want to do it because I was afraid of disrupting whatever you had done. So I remember I reached out to you to say, like, is this okay?
That's right. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if this would be helpful to anyone else who's, considering doing a clearing, but the other things that we had noticed too were Like I reached out to you guys a few times just because I was really scared it would come back because the difference
Absolutely.
was so drastic from what we were having before to what it was now, that I just started getting really nervous. That we lived with it for 10 years essentially.
Yeah.
And excuse me, I just got nervous that it might come back, and I wanted to be sure. So I reached out a lot to you.
Which is absolutely what you're supposed to do. We don't we
like
don't come
probably
in and
3
just
different
clean
times,
and then
just,
go.
you know, being nervous. And
Yeah.
yeah, you were very, very kind to me and
Oh.
tolerated all my questions.
We love questions, so we're good.
Yeah. But yeah, so then the only other thing that I noticed was with my kids, because like we mentioned that in an email that, you know, maybe there was a decent amount in, I have a family of 5, and there was a decent amount of us that probably had been sensitive to the energy.
Yep.
Or had some sort of ability, I don't know. And so I reached out again because it was harder on my daughter. Was really scared. She's 6. She's always been afraid to be anywhere alone. But the girl loves horror stories. Like she loves spooky movies. So we have to like really handle her differently.
Yes.
And she very much knows the difference between real and fake. She understands how makeup works, and we work in the performing arts. She gets it. But she was still very scared to be alone. And I could tell that it was registering the way mine was registering, of like, what if it comes back and I'm not ready? She didn't have any new reasons to be afraid. It was just residual feelings of being scared and anxiety about that. So that was hard for sure.
Sure.
And I just didn't know how to deal with that, because I didn't want to shut her down if she, you know, like I remember being a child as we had the house cleared, and I was talking to my friends. I mentioned earlier that like my friend and I realized that growing up, we definitely had, because once you cleared it, we were able to very clearly see what activity looked like and what it looked like without activity. And it made me realize so much of my childhood things that I now knew were not just creepy feelings in certain rooms, you know? And so I must at some point, and I definitely didn't want to do that to my daughter if she was okay with it, because she's the kind of child where she may have been okay with it, but she was just scared right now.
Yes.
So it's hard to navigate that. That was definitely something.
And you're a good mom. You sat with her, you talked to her, you listened, which is so important, to listen to our children, to believe our children, and to be reassuring. You did a wonderful job. You really did. And that's really what I think the most important thing you can do when you have children and there's activity going is exactly what you did. Like if I had to tell someone, how do you deal with your kids who are scared in activity, I would say, let's talk to Leslie, because you did it. You listened to them.
I agree.
You reassured them. You were like in it together. Like it didn't feel, you know, a lot of parents sort of just go back to bed, or, well, I'm not feeling it. So, or I'm not seeing it. I'm not experiencing it. So, oh, come on, you know, like there's that, and they sort of create this us and them feeling, and that mom and dad aren't on my side. Wait, so I must be like, there's, you know, they're little children. They don't know. They need us to guide them through it. You did beautiful. You did beautifully.
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
And while we were going through it, I didn't know, I mean, they were not sleeping in their beds. They still don't sleep in their beds. We're trying. But so it was just a lot of them being in our room. And I kind of just figured, well, I don't know what to do, but I definitely don't want to say that my experience is better and more valid than yours.
Right. Yes. And you have a full adult brain. They do not.
Once we were in it, we hadn't, it took us a year to even contact you. And I've been watching.
Yeah.
We have what?
As adults, we have a fully grown, evolved brain, right? They don't have that. They don't understand. So so it's you were great.
Yeah. I didn't know what to do, but I just thought, well, in the meantime of not knowing, the best thing I can do is this. Yes. So we did that for a few years.
Yes. And I have been very honest.
I don't know.
Our kids,
we watched you for years as well, my husband and I. It still took that long to say we should do something. Which
because you kind of feel crazy, right? Or you feel,
Yeah.
oh, this
Yeah.
isn't very important, or I might be imagining things. It's,
My mental, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's very common. It really is. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so she's been scared. We're trying to move her back to her room. Well, her and her brother share a room because that's how they are and they're always together. But
yes, yes.
we started to let them kind of ownership of the room, and we're like, she wants it to be a fairy room, and her brother, he's fine with whatever. He's
Oh,
bored. He's
good,
just,
good,
and he's
good.
the one that I think
Yeah.
has any not bothered by any of this typically,
Yes.
right? So it's like whatever Holden wants is fine with me. I'm fine,
Yes.
So yeah. So we let her kind of decorate the room. We let her take over. We're making it like what she wants it to be, very fairy-esque. And so, I tried to get her to name her room, think of a name for it. And I'm trying to help her understand like that how she sees her room is kind of how the vibe is going to be what she makes it. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to help her
absolutely.
understand, like, let's give it
Yes.
a magical name. Let's give this is the space
Yes.
where you play and it's safe in here. And
That's
I don't know what
nice.
she's going to
I
name it,
love
but
that. Love it.
I try to give it made me think of how you said the grids. I thought, well,
Huh?
maybe I can solidify something by
And it
intending for
does.
it to be a strong place where they feel super safe. And if she has a name for it, we can
Yeah.
then take that name if she does have a, and we can move that to other locations. Like, remember, this is like whatever that safe space is, she
Yes,
can use that at my grandma's
absolutely.
house or whatever, if she picks up on it.
Now,
Yeah.
do you still go through and sage once in a while or anything? And does she do it with you?
Yes. From
Good,
the time
good.
when I first noticed that there was something in the house, my son and I mean, I felt like an absolute lunatic. This was not my original native practice. I didn't want to step on any toes or anything like that. So it was very new. But when my 17-year-old, when he was little, I went through and staged and I was like, we're all doing it. So they would ring a bell. I just gave
Oh,
them an
I
instrument. I
love
had
that.
instruments.
No,
I
that's
gave them
good.
Yeah.
noise and just it's time to
Yes.
go. Say get out. I
Yep,
don't
yep,
know.
yep, yep. And it's really the tool that you use, whether it's sage, could be holy water, could be a bell, could be whatever. It's not as much with as you know now, it's not the tool that you use, it's the intention and the energy you bring to it that really makes the difference. That's what matters. So that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Mhm.
Oh, I can see them with
Yeah.
their
So we just kind
little
of
bell.
yeah, they have a little bell, they have
Yeah.
a hand drum, like your hand drum a little bit that we use in
Oh,
music class
Nice.
stuff. So they use that and they will now ask to do it. They're like, is it time to say out, out, out? Like one can't do
Oh.
anything. So he just says out, out, out. And
that's
they
funny.
better at the end, they like it. So
Good,
that's
good.
yeah. And they just want they march just walk behind me. It's kind of great. I don't know.
Yes,
But I need it to work in their world also.
yes,
Like,
Yes.
I don't
yes.
know. So I got to something that they can lock in on if
Absolutely.
is scared later. And she's very she has ever since she was little, like 2 years old, she has loved all things spooky. She has always said things that are just, and my oldest was very similar. They have a lot of thoughts about where we go and how we are and what this means. And in my next life, maybe I'll do this. So I'm just trying to roll with big argument about who's going to be the mom next time around.
That's awesome.
Awesome conversation. Those are good conversations to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
And
husband will say it feels like we live with another married couple because her and her brother, there's plenty of times where my husband and I are like, this is what's going to happen. And they're just like talking to each other separately. Like, do we really need to listen to these two? Or are we going to come up with our own idea?
right.
So
Yes.
we joke all the time. We're like, they have been, we feel like we live with another married couple. We're like, maybe they were married in I don't know, but we're just trying to be open to whatever it is. We have had different experiences and different faiths and things and deconstructed some things that no longer work for us. So
Right.
we're just trying to
Yeah.
make it an open conversation all of the time. So
Yes.
yeah.
I think that's wonderful. It is. Yeah, absolutely.
I started to try to help her. I mean, I don't know if this helps other moms, but like we lost a pet. It was pretty
Yes.
tragic. It was their first pet. They chose on their own. And so the pet passed away. It's a pet, it's a little ferret, kind of like a little hamster. They pass, they get into things. We had our house all proofed, but I moved a furniture and I think that it was moved from a spot where it wasn't normally. And I think that she just got stuck back there.
Oh,
It was very traumatizing. And so a friend, they were devastated. And so at our co-op, one of the moms had said to try to, oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. She said, try to build an ofrenda. And they had a lot of passing of neighbors. Our neighbor passed a few months ago that they were close to. She was like their grandma, then their pet passed. And then our other neighbor, his dad just passed.
Oh.
So really sad. We just had a lot of older neighbors, and in their world, it didn't make sense. So she had said, try to give them something to put their grief into. So we made an ofrenda. Their aunt is Mexican, and so she makes ofrendas too. So now we made one and put it to her. She showed us
the picture. Do you have the pictures in there? Of
it's right behind me. It's actually just a bulletin board.
I
don't know if you can see it. No, I was going the day. So they put some food up for their parents.
Oh, isn't that
put flowers up for our neighbor because she loved. Yes. And so that was really helpful for them to have something to take care of, because I didn't understand what they would need for grief like this, because I'm thinking it's just a pet, like what's going on. But and it's a new pet. Yeah. So that was really helpful, was to make that and have them have something to do with it. So we just spent a day really talking, and that helped a lot too.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And that we never truly die.
I'm trying to think if we did anything else with them that was helpful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She got really sad, and a few times, so we sat on the floor and I just tried to help her imagine, just fill up her heart a little bit with like some glittery love, make a big
yes.
And I would try to help her understand, like, imagine that you're with your pet, and what is he doing or what is she doing, and what are you doing? And then that's a safe place where you can go if you want to spend time with her. And that helped her a lot to understand that, like, things in this world don't always maybe look like things in the other world, but it doesn't mean that it's just gone. So I don't know. And I'm not sure if she's seeing I don't know what she's getting. I'm just trying to make it okay to get things.
Absolutely.
Just trying to make it.
Yeah.
Yes. Which you should do. Yeah.
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 Wonderful.
So I don't know. Those are the things that we had to do. And I keep reminding her that whatever was frightening is not here. That's not here any longer. It's gone. It's gone.
Nope.
Yeah.
And that if she gets nervous, this is, we can make that bubble again. We can make that bubble again, and nothing is allowed to be in our bubble. So we're working on that.
Yes.
If that helps other parents who also cleared their homes, I don't know. I just want to be helpful. So.
Thank you. No, and if it works for you, it might work, and it may not work for another family.
True.
But it's always good to have as many options so you can figure out, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try this. Oh, okay, this one works.
Yep.
And you just keep trying until you find.
And it might spark another idea for them to try something else that works within their dynamics. So I thank you for sharing all of your experiences, because in one way, shape, or form, it helps somebody.
Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't want to go through and do this and have the kids know what it was like before, and then just pretend like it never happened, which I think would have been something that would have happened in my childhood. It was it was something that happened. I mean, we were raised Catholic, and but it was a very mystical side. So I remember my mother having like a psychic out on our property when I was younger, and they would kind of let her know what spirits were on our land, and then they would call the priest out to clear that out. So and then they would talk about it. It was like it never not supposed to mix those two worlds, right? Okay,
and
it still works.
And that is, we get contacted by almost all faiths. There's a couple that we haven't yet had interaction with, or zero faith, or I think it's all the same. Let's just pretend like it's not here. That's the universal thing. Let's just pretend like it doesn't happen.
Yep.
It's not here. Let's just ignore it, or whatever. It's pretty universal. Yeah. It's
sure. And then like when they came out, then they were gone, and it's like, don't tell the priest that we had the psychic, and don't tell them
right
that they would do in our small town. And so I did not want that to be the way that it was for them, because then all of a sudden we're making a secret about something, or we're like, don't share it with our friends. Like, I don't so I wanted them to know, like, everything was valid. happened and it's fine. Like whatever it was is fine. I just didn't want to erase it from their mind or put anything around it that was precious.
Well, and we can get help. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It's like, you know what, these things are happening and we can get these poor souls, we can get them help. We can help them. There isn't a more beautiful thing than that. Like, let's get them help. Let's help them over. Let's do the loving thing.
Because we were very,
get them help.
Yes, the loving thing. Right. Because we were very sad when you told us about the man that had been here, that part of his life was here. That broke our hearts. We all cried a little bit about that, which I thought was, and when their pet died, they were really upset. And I'm like, remember how excited the man that was here in the house was?
That gives me chills. Yes.
I don't beat you. I just.
Yes.
Yeah. Goosebumps.
I said, remember how excited he was? Like, I'm sure that because they were at their little pet TBG didn't know anybody over there yet. And they're like, well, he has nobody. I'm like, remember that man? Like, he has that man. And I bet he's really excited to see TBG because
yes.
I was like, that was his favorite thing. And he just got his best friend. Like, so
I love that. And that's so land. Like,
absolutely.
It really does. Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah. And they're both in that healed, loving energy.
I'm so
and
glad.
they can really enjoy each other the way it's meant to now, the way our souls are meant, because they're both full and healthy and
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, we think about him a lot sometimes where we're just like, man, I hope he's well.
He is, I promise you. Yes.
Yeah. So it was kind of
This has been such a beautiful conversation. We're so excited. I know everyone's going to love this update.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Really grateful that you came on and shared it with us and with everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate that you would do this. I've told friends of mine, I'm like, no, they don't even charge. They just really are ethical, moral, beautiful humans that
thank you.
Others. And and so I've had a few friends where I'm like, if this continues.
Yes. It's hard for people to reach out, which is so nice.
It is
to do these updates. It really, as Mari-Lyn always says, it gives people permission
I agree.
to contact us.
Yeah.
It's the permission part for sure. Because I watched you from we've always been very open. Like my husband and I, we love spooky things too. We love it. We started watching you. We're watching the Ghost Hunters and we were like, we want to know we're very truth ridden people. Like, what is the real truth of it? So that's how that's how we ended up finding you. But it still took us a year to say, like, we give ourselves permission to put our story out here on YouTube. And we want to do it if we weren't. I'm not blaming anyone or shaming or anything of anyone who wouldn't share their story, because there are plenty of people who have reasons why they wouldn't, I'm sure. But I just felt like if I'm going to do it, we need to be really open about it. And I knew that that's how I would view it. So I had to get okay with putting the story out here forever.
Thank you.
For anything.
Thank you. No, we really do. And I know people watching it who have called in or have contacted us after seeing yours. There have been people. So you can know that there have been people.
Oh, really?
That yes. Now,
that's awesome.
We don't, if people really don't want it on our channel, we don't send them away. Our students, our advanced students go ahead and take care of it. And so they clear the home. So everyone gets the service. It just might look different, but we don't turn anyone away ever. So, no, my goodness, no, that would just be awful.
I know. I never would imagine that you would.
No, okay.
So when I tell I just knew for myself, I wanted to share free information and for anyone.
Thank you so much.
Because I can't remember exactly the video, but one of the videos when it happened, I thought, this is what I thought I would need to have to meet the qualifications of having things in my home. And granted, the stories I had prior were intense stories, but somehow I was like, but nobody grabbed my bed sheets. Nobody grabbed
right. Like, yes.
Yep.
It could be because we watch horror movies and they're fun.
Horror movies and then ghost hunter videos
and we think it should look a certain way. So it was really important for me to.
It doesn't look a certain way.
Yeah.
No,
that was
absolutely different for everyone. Yeah.
Nor does it feel a certain way or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the most helpful for me. Yeah. Was seeing somebody else describe what my emotions and mental clogged stuff was feeling like. That's what made me do it. And I thought, oh goodness, there's so much more than just my bed sheet moving or
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
something like, I don't
It
know.
would be really easy if
So-
that's all, if you knew, oh, that's paranormal. Okay, that's exactly it. This,
Right?
yeah.
No.
For sure. I kept thinking I had these big things happen, but
Yeah.
I was like, but it was the idea that it was an everyday long-term pressing occurrence that made me go, oh my gosh, it's not just we could be a little spooked at certain times over something. It was the everyday aspect that really got me to reach out.
Yes, I'm so glad. Yeah, and that's if you're having a big episode, I
Yeah.
guarantee you it's still in your home and every day something is happening. You don't notice it because I think as humans we want to see that big episode to believe it. Like we have to see
Yeah.
it to believe it.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it's the paranormal it's very sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And before you know it, we're depressed and we can't do anything or we don't want and all these things. Leslie, thank you so much.
We
for
just could
joining us today.
function. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys were amazing and I very much appreciate it. And even if we had a big event happen, what would I have done? I would have said, now I need a second occurrence to be
Right,
sure.
exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Not helping.
No. And I think that's human nature to do that.
So.
Well, do it again. And then,
Yep.
yeah. And it just doesn't happen that way.
No.
No.
But yeah, so now we're all a little interested in what must have been on this property before, because
Yes.
right down the road from us is a restaurant that we know is very haunted. We've read up about it and we visited, and it was a carriage house many, 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 many years ago, and then a house for women. And it's similar storyline, similar time period as our house was.
Oh, interesting.
What was here? We know it was a plantation a long time ago, like down there. It was
Sure.
the house for the man who owned this entire
Because you're in Florida.
we're in Florida. Yeah, in St. Petersburg, which is just like a peninsula off of Florida.
Yeah.
So and a lot of the stories around the history and are now very interesting to us because of
Sure.
just our neighbor and their stories and wondering what happened. So
Well, we'll just hold the
I
intention that all the people down there will call us.
I hope.
Call us for help.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a very old area, area.
Yeah.
We took a ghost tour, our whole family a few years ago, and they talked Hemingway was here and Jack Kerouac, different stories where they could take you to the things that have. So yeah, it's a really cool, it's a neat vibe of people who seem to have just come here and when they felt they had arrived,
Yes.
So it's kind of to hear,
Yeah.
all of it's interesting to me. I love information, but yeah.
Me too. And the history of everything is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And our son, we named him Hemingway, and a mural of Hemingway is down on the there's a mural of Hemingway down there, but it was, we didn't know that when we named him until later. It's really neat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, now every time you drive by, you can think, just sort of point, see? Yeah.
Yes. My husband and I are huge readers, and we're trying to instill that in our children who are not quite readers.
Not yet. They could find a love later. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Very welcome. Thank you.
And anyone out there, if you're watching this,
yes,
and
I very much,
I
I can't thank you enough.
Or someone you know, TCS, everydaypsychics.com. We'll get you to our website. You can reach us there. You can read about us if you want. And we'd love to help. And no, we don't charge. So
No, we do not.
Not for paranormal services.
Not for the paranormal. No. And it doesn't have to be on the channel. As Pam mentioned, we do have some great advanced students that will do the clearings that don't want to be on the channel. So
of course, we're always going to be where we will first ask you, will you put this on the channel?
Absolutely.
Because it does help people. It helps. And we want to get our message out there. We want people to know the truth about the paranormal and that these souls need help. They don't need poked and prodded, and the people living with the paranormal, they don't realize how good they can feel. They just,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never thought, I felt like, okay, I've lived here 10 years. It's felt like this. But then I started to go back and go, well, from the time I was younger, when did I first feel that particular feeling?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yes.
And I've met, my family, like I told you, they were very Catholic and had very different beliefs, and it's really, we've had a lot of family members on my side where they live in haunted houses, and they will let you know that it's haunted. And it really, really changed my perspective on that as well, where now I try to share with them that like ethically, is that what you want,
Right.
for another human?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting conversation there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's really
the
big message that we want out there, is this is a soul who deserves to be healed. They're not.
Yeah.
They're in pain every day. Every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been interested in this my entire life, just like I have been in music. If I could have chosen, those would have been 2 careers. That would have been it. And I never heard that concept until your channel.
Yes.
It changed my whole belief system on like the ethics of that, versus saying, oh, I have this really fun haunted house. And
right.
No,
Yes.
we don't want that.
No.
That might
No.
be for you.
No.
Feel like that. Now I even am thinking, no, you don't enjoy it either.
Yes, and then we have the whole ghost hunting thing, whatever, that the whole ghost hunting business. It's a real business. And
sure.
They're going out there and acting scared. Most of the time they're not scared anymore. But okay, that's a whole nother thing. But there's a lot of entertainment value there, right? Too. Yeah. And so the poor souls are not getting the help they need, and that's why we're here doing this. And it's so
I can even in the stories of one of my family members, the activity from when we were little, my cousins, we would talk about it, and now I can see where it may have gotten more over time in his house, where he was very scared. As an adult, he won't sleep in certain rooms in his own home, and I see now where it escalated, and all I can imagine in my mind is that it's a level up. It's more pain and frustration that has happened versus versus like somebody new coming in, or that they provoked. It's pain has gotten more for that spirit, is what it feels like to me. I don't know.
Yes, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking.
Very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That made
and
me
we're
sad.
so thankful
we've
that
been able to kind of sorry.
That's okay. There's kind of that lag with the internet. Yes. And that beautiful soul that was in your home, he had the opportunity to heal, and he did. He crossed right over, and he's healed, and that was just beautiful. And we will link your original video.
Yeah.
We'll link it to this. So for all of you out there who want to see that original, if you haven't already, it's very interesting and you'll like it. So, well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Leslie, for telling your beautiful story. And again, we're TCSEverydayPsychics.com, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye, Leslie.
Bye, girls.
Bye. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Bye.